Okay, so I'm here to tell you about how we are building the African startup ecosystem through telling stories. And I'm just going to begin with a very quick story, which is according to Village Capital's report that was released early this year, 80% of disclosed investors in Africa in 2017 were foreigners. And then the report also said that 90% of the capital that came into Africa in 2017 went to startups that had at least one founder from Europe or North America. But why is this happening? We are looking at two individuals here. We have Alice, who is an investor in London, and we have, James, who is a startup founder in Tanzania. So Alice is looking for a startup to invest in Africa. James is looking for an investor from anywhere in the world. But what do the two do? Both Alice and James have some activities in common. They'll go to meetups that are in their communities or events like this one, or they'll subscribe to mailing lists where they can be able to get information about this. They can travel to go and tour ecosystems. We've had investors do that, or founders. Or they can be a part of a closed group, let's say a WhatsApp group, a Facebook group, or a LinkedIn group. But these activities, even though they are common, they have limitations. And one of the limitations is that the two will never be connected. Because even though an investor is going to events, they only go to events that expose them to their very circles, or the circle that they already have a connection to. The same thing happens to James. James goes to meetups in Dar es Salaam, or they're in a closed group of people that they have something in common with. So Alice might never get to invest in James. But in 2011, something very exciting happened. One of the companies that I really admire, Iroko TV, they raised money from Tiger Global. Tiger Global is an investor in Netflix. And Jason says that this happened because they read about them on TechCrunch, right? And since then, they've gone on to raise a total of $40 million. And they're about to hit, I think, $50 million in revenue, according to Jason. So I think the question most of you have is, why doesn't TechCrunch write about James's startup too? And the answer is very simple. The answer is that James is too small for them, so they will never have interest in writing about him. And I think I can now introduce myself. My name is Peter Kisadha Malinzi. I'm the founder and the CEO of Digest Africa. So at Digest Africa, we unlock opportunities for startups and investors through telling their stories. And why do we do that? The reason is that right now, stories about startups in Africa are rarely told. And even when they are told, they are inaccurate, or they are told in a very shallow way. So an investor or anyone that can partner with them doesn't get so much information. I'll give an example. Just recently, the Wall Street Journal did a story about ride-hailing in Africa. And what they focused on was bodabodas, or motorbikes, if you don't know bodabodas. And the picture that they painted was that Taxify and Uber were leading the industry in the continent. They also added that, they never mentioned anyone else in the article. I'm from Uganda, I know Safe Border, and I'm on ground and know that Safe Border is better than anyone else in the ride-hailing market across Africa when it comes to motorbikes. They have 7,000 riders, more than any other person, right? The Wall Street Journal didn't know this, and this is actually the author. She came out and said that they focused on the two because they are bigger. That's not true. Uber and Taxify launched their service this year. Safe Border launched theirs in 2015. But as we found out that most investors into African startups they're foreigners, right? This was an opportunity for Safe Border to be shown to the foreigners by the Wall Street Journal that can maybe come and invest in them, right? But the Wall Street Journal has killed this. So how do we go about this? So there's another problem, which is that data about startups across Africa is largely scattered. I gave an example of Alice. So if Alice wanted to understand James's startup thoroughly, she would have to visit multiple platforms, right? And even when she does that, all these platforms can't give her a comprehensive understanding of what the startup is about. She would have to, in turn, email them or give them a call or pay them a visit, which actually reduces the chances for James's startup, right? So we are proposing a solution which is very simple. We have a platform, and on this platform, you can see stories, you can see who has gotten funding and from who. You have a database of startups, you have a database of investors that have invested in these startups. So that way, Alice and people that are like her can just go there and be able to know everything they need to know about James and people like James. So this is the market validation. According to Patek Ventures, we are expecting around $100 billion into the African startup ecosystem throughout the year 2020. But we've already seen how much has come into Africa, and this is way higher than what has come in the past 3 years. So imagine the activity that is going to be caused by that amount of money. And how is this activity going to be consumed? Look at this is how much we're expecting in terms of gadgets, 1 billion gadgets in the next 10 years. That's according to GSMA. And when you look at the population that's going to be consuming this, these are millennials, and 60% of our population is under 25. So it's going to be digital consumption. This is our business model. We are looking at premium content, charging $9. We are going to start this next month, actually. And then also, we are looking at job adverts. We started this 2 months ago. We have the likes of Andela as our clients. And then also, press release distribution services. We have the likes of Flutterwave as our clients. And then in June next year, we are going to launch what we call the enterprise dashboard. So this helps investors as well as corporate companies identify companies or startups that they could be interested in. They can keep tabs of what is happening across the continent in any industry of their interest. And we are looking at charging them per year that amount, which is $5,000. This is our competition. Sorry, the arrows that are going up and down were messed up when we were setting up. But we are analyzing it based on 2 things which are ideal for the market, for our ecosystem. That is their level of depth in coverage, and then how up-to-date the information and data that we have is. So, of course, our ideal spot is to be more in-depth, and more up-to-date than what is on the market already. Going to our traction.
Digest Africa. May I suggest that you go to your ask in the interest of time? Your 7 minutes have expired.
Okay. So we are looking for $50,000, and this is going to give us 18-month runway. And we are going to be giving away 10% of our stake. And this will propel our team to 10 people spread across 5 countries on the continent. Then it will get us 1,000 monthly paying users, the $9 that we talked about, and then 100,000 users. So we shall grow 10 times in the number of our visitors. So this is basically the team. And one of our team members works with Deloitte. He's their corporate finance manager. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to you, judges.
So, I mean, quick question from my side to be 2 things. The business model in terms of advertising, because as a writer, we expect you're gonna make some money on the advertising. So the $100, is it a standard banner or is per impression? And then another thing is verifying the news. Are you meeting the investor and startup, interviewing them, or you reading somewhere and then you're trying to edit something?
Okay, right now, one of the ways that we do that is we speak to them directly through various avenues. It could be a Skype call, it could be an email, or it could be on LinkedIn. But the model that we want to use is we have people in every country that we cover. So that way it becomes so easy. You come to such an event, you can have conversations with these people and verify this. And then the other one is, when you talk about accuracy, is trying to compare information from different platforms, but do that so fast. So we are trying to work on the technology whereby we can do data mining from different platforms. So if you have conflicting things, then you can address that.
All right. Are there any other? Oh, thank you.
I don't know. I'm not sure if you're aware of Asoko Insights. Are you? Okay. So if you look at the Asoko model, is not a question of news and what is happening in the space. News is for free, but they use news to drive people to their platform, and their revenue model is on data. So I was wondering if your model will move finally into that, or will always remain at the level of people subscribing to news, which of course people have multiple sources to get that from.
I think when you talk about the news being free, we've seen where that has taken us. And you have platforms like The Information, and you have a platform like TechCrunch, right? TechCrunch gives away service for free, but nowadays, if you read TechCrunch, you won't see that much there. If you read The Information, there's so much. So if you attach paying to the product itself, there is that incentive to actually make the product that good. Asoko Insight, they build their foundation off the news. They actually aggregate news in their newsletter. They don't create the news. So the more accurate that we are, the better Asoko Insights will be.
I just wanted to say your pitch is excellent, and your team is also very strong. And I like the model that you guys are pursuing. Similar, I think, company is like African Intelligence. It's not focused on startups, but it shows that the subscription model is possible and that there's a market for that. I guess, who would you be targeting as your target audience for having these subscriptions? Would it be VCs in the States, et cetera? And also in terms of the startups that you interview and spread in the news, would you develop relationships with Western media companies to help amplify their voices, or with angel investors here in Africa, such as my friend here, Mr. Saloom? Or how would you create additional value added in addition to the news that you're spreading?
I mean, I think when you talk about partnerships with international media, actually they are struggling when it comes to technology in Africa. We've had a conversation with Thomson Reuters, and the challenge is, can you deliver to their standard consistently? They don't have a problem having the partnership. You can talk to Bloomberg, and they are all for it. But can you deliver consistently to their standards? So yeah, we are looking about
that. This is my suggestion to you, because I saw the model, you have news content, but you spoke about database of investors and startups. Because one of the challenges that we have in Africa is, as I said during the panel, is deal origination. Where are these deals? And where are these investors? And the automation of deals. So if you can build up the data, investors will be willing to pay to get access to these companies if you have the length of data about these companies before they fly into Africa. So that will be my suggestion to you. And my question to you is, are you ready to be acquired by 100% and sell out?
No. Okay, the reason is, even if you acquired us, I think the key thing is maybe the terms of the acquisition. Because my partner and I, the one in the middle, he's still working with Deloitte, but he's willing to leave his comfortable job and come and work on this. Asoko Insights is in the market, and when I tell people on first sight, they say, but Asoko is doing this. When I ask them, can you tell me 100 startups that have raised the most amount of funding in the past 10 years across Africa? They can't tell you that, because data hasn't been organized at that level. So Asoko is more of corporate focused, but then who builds the foundation? So for me, I see the potential is very huge. So the conversation would be maybe a quasi-acquisition.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you so much.